Hi there, Cosm family. My name is Jahliali. In this incarnation, I am here today to talk about the energies of this next week from June 16th to June 22nd. So we are in the last days of the Gemini season. And well, I'm going to go in order as always to describe the transits. We have things happening. We are still going through the square between Mars in Leo and Uranus in Taurus. This continues to be active. I'm going to talk about Uranus in another video because well, it will be active in the next times. Right. We start on June 17th with the Sun creating a sextile, perfecting the sextile with Chiron in Aries. In fact, this was part of the full moon in Sagittarius, and Chiron, it is this once of incarnation that I've talked many times with Chiron in Aries, could be linked with, Chiron is expressed in this feeling of insecure, incapacity many times, these fears related to, in this case with Chiron in Aries, taking initiative, being courageous, opening our path in a certain way, taking decisions alone, could be linked with those things. So with the Sun in Gemini creating this sextile, it is a moment where we can, I always say, so the energy of Gemini could be seeing things, a same topic from other perspectives, giving other looks to a same situation. Also, the air in general, signs of air could have this capacity to put a distance, so we cannot identify that much with the experiences that have created this kind of patterns or imbalances, related to Chiron, that many times, they are very, very painful. But mainly with the Sun in Gemini, we could communicate also, we could express through the word and offer our experience to other people to generate those bridges and to understand that we are not alone, that we all share, in a certain way, experiences that are painful and that have, created that have give form to our identities in this plane. Also, it is about understanding that, about Chiron, that those experiences were part of the way that the soul can express its purpose in this identity. Well, that same day, June 17th, Mars enters Virgo. So we had a Mars going through, going from Leo to Cancer because of the retrogradation since, the last part of 2024, since October, September. So, finally, Mars moves into a new sign. Here, it acquires a lot of great practicity. It is a transit to focus with in an efficient way in whatever thing we want to start to give form in this plane. It is about, it is emphasized the capacity to create new habits that can impact ourselves in a positive way. Because in the tiny acts of every day, it is that we create the great changes in time. It is not about only one decision. Many times it is, but the things that we can actually sustain are giving back this Virginian, I don't know how it is said in English, this energy of Virgo. So topics linked with health, both physical and mental, our diary labor, our routines are going to be moved with Mars entering here. It is a very analytic energy. It is a good moment to observe with discernment what serves and what not, to optimize areas of our lives, organize, cleaning, repairing, giving order. Also, it is a good moment to focus in ways of service to other people that are actually feeling in alignment with the soul. We cannot omit the complementary axis, which is Pisces. And in fact, in some moment, Mars is going to make a contact with the South Node in Virgo. The shadow of this Mars could be linked to avoiding taking action until we can accomplish a standard of perfection that is not existent. That is actually emerging from a pattern of fearing the mistake, when mistakes are not only things that are unavoidable, but also the passage through which we perfect ourselves, we improve ourselves. So other shadow of this Mars, it is the excessive criticism with ourselves and with other people. That is how the polarized aggressiveness of this Mars could present. Also the focus in details that actually are not changing the whole view, many times a detail could change things. I put this example in other videos before regarding, the sacred texts, because a traduction of a word that is incorrect could change the meaning of many things. But there are many times that the detail, it is not, changing anything. So it is about the discernment to regulate when we are truly making a criticism that is constructive, that is contributing with something, or there is a projection of our internal aspects. We could take time, take a pause, and to do so. And well, the same with our labor. I mean, seeking for improvement, it is not the same as pretending a level of development, sorry, that cannot happen if we are not putting actions in practice, if we don't start a thing. So Mars enters in a sextile with Jupiter in Cancer. That is a very cool transit that is going to be perfected by the end of the week, June 22nd, to apply this functionality of Mars in Virgo in all the things that we want to expand, in the things that are actually helping us to nourishing in the emotional and physical way and in every level. So to give direction to this transit, I think it is a key to ask ourselves which is the priority right now, which is the basis that we need to build or to put energy in. You can make a list with Virgo, but it is about putting the focus in what is essential to improve, whether this is relationships, projects, could be the food habits, whatever thing, and to take action. Well, on June 19th, Jupiter in Cancer creates a square with Neptune in Aries. That's why I think the transit of Mars in Virgo is something that could help with this. This is active since the entrance has been active since the entrance of Jupiter in Cancer, and in its shadow, I'm going to start by the shadow, could be an expectation that is being deposited in something, in someone, in a situation outside that is far away from reality. It is an idealization, an illusion that could be projected from our emotional needs that we are not covering. And when we are idealizing a situation, we are like cutting off the negative aspects, the shadows, to only see what we want to see. And that leads us to disillusionment, which actually are a blessing because they help us to contact with the reality, and also they occur to take the responsibility of our projections, because Saturn is close, is in the other side of Neptune. And to take responsibility of the aspects that we are omitting just because we want to see the reality in a certain way, that prevents us from growth. Because when we are in touch with reality, we know which things we should really move, which kind of decisions we should really take. So could also be an aspect, I'm going to deepen, I think, in other videos on this week. Could be also an aspect that is linked with, focusing in potentials of reality that are not among our possibilities, only a potential. And if we don't have possibility of starting to materialize those things, it is because they aren't actually connecting with the true sense of our path. So we are using those potentials as an escapism of what we truly need to do. Also could be in the collective level, something that I've seen, these days. These, confrontations because of ideological, dogmatic postures, beliefs, where the parties are believing that the other one, it is the mistaken one. That is always that way. So the integration beyond what we consider that is truth, it is important to, when we are debating, which is not the same as discussing something with this polarity of aggressiveness. When we are debating, it is important to listen to the other without judgments of what people are these days. This could be very linked with Jupiter in Cancer. Identifying people with something. There are the sleep ones, the awakened ones. These days people are putting labels to each other or names, and I don't think that is contributing that to expand our knowledge and our sense of truth and revelations. So, growing spiritually, I think it is about understanding that we all have our own processes. And if some of your ideas are making you believe that you are, in a superior level, that you are better than something than something or someone, there is an ego that is imbalanced. But also, growing spiritually, it is the development critical thinking, and to let go of identifications, emotional identifications that we do with certain ideas, because Jupiter in Cancer is not only about the belief or the dogma. It is something that I feel so familiar, that I have made so much identity, that my emotions are involved, which could also add this sense of confrontation and not of unification, that it is the energy of Neptune. So it is about to open ourselves to answers that could be more unifying. And with unifying, I am not referring to justify the imbalances or distortions from anyone or from a situation. It is about to understand that distortions of society are corrected, while we each one of us can assume the responsibility for our own imbalances. And obviously, it is part of the path to not be in agreement with some people, to know that that not all of us were going to perceive things in the same way, and that we can access an internal truth without having the need to impose that truth. We can share that. I am doing that, in fact, with my channels. But well, this is about sharing, and that the people that can resonate, it does so. But it do so. But always, again, opening the field to new revelations, because if we are not doing that, we are closing ourselves in dogmas that are going to prevent us from growth. In another level, this square, it has to do with connecting with great dreams or projects that we want to give a structure, Saturn. But also could be this questioning, in the sense that life could impulse us through a path that pushes us to break with those limited beliefs, because sustain them are making us losing the sense or disconnecting ourselves from our own soul. When we are losing the sense from an experience, it is because our mind is limiting us. And there is other kind of integration that could be linked with reconnecting with the confidence that if we are nourishing and protecting and taking care of that, what our soul is guiding us to nourish, especially if it's operating in contribution with other people, that is Neptune. The doors of expansion are going to be opened in a way that we don't imagine with Neptune. So the challenge could be linked with aligning with something that requires a new level of independency. I am referring that perhaps there could be certain spaces, circles, people that were familiar but cannot accompany, cannot understand our process, and that is also part of the path. Okay, on June 20th, the sun enters Cancer. We have the, here in the South Hemisphere, we have the winter solstice, I forgot the word, and summer solstice in the North Hemisphere. And well, the sun in Cancer is going to reinforce the squares that Jupiter in Cancer is creating with Saturn and Neptune there, because it is also activating them. So we start this new cycle until the next equinox. And we are going to see that there are touched very intimate experiences that we feel like our own, like very internal, because the sun is identity, and in Cancer, it remains us to topics linked with emotional security, family, our home. Our nest. I like this word. What is nourishing us and what's not. And certainly we are going to have to be aware, bringing light with the sun to those aspects that require a boundary, aspects in which we need to grow and develop maturity, being more independent, responding to that inner voice again, even if that represents a challenge. So it is about descending to earth potentials and dreams as a process, not as something that we are going to do in the Cancer month or in 2025 even. It is, the opening And for that, we have to be in connection in a realistic way of how we can approach with concrete actions in the matter that those things. Okay, on June 21st, we have Mercury in Cancer creating a trine with the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo. So if you remember the last week or in the week before that was Mercury in Gemini and the Sun later in Gemini, the ones that made the square with both of them. Now we have harmonic aspects, so we can, with Mercury in Cancer, we can acquire this perspective of how we are feeling in relation to those new paths or decisions that we are assuming, perhaps accompanying ourselves to cultivate these nourishing experiences in the process, giving to ourselves the emotional security to face those new spaces. It is a recognition that the repetitive patterns, even if they are giving the sense of familiarity, because that's why we can repeat them, they give us the illusion of control and security because they are predictable. But it is this recognition that even they are predictable and they are giving the sense of control, the illusion of control. They actually are limiting us. They remain us in spaces that we don't want to stay anymore, and we cannot move forward to new things. They are making us feel in stagnation. So it is about observing with love what we need to nourish or choose in order for lives to circulate. So, well, on June 22nd, we have the perfections of the transits that I mentioned before: Mars sextile Jupiter in Cancer, Mars in Virgo, and the Sun in Cancer square Saturn in Aries. I talked about this a minute ago. So I'm going to end this video here. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.